everyone, this is Botany and Board. I am Bailey, and I'd like to welcome you all to Deduction December. Why am I doing Deduction December, do you ask? Well, it's because December starts with D and so does deduction, and I have learned that I love deduction games. So, I have now coined this Deduction December, so get excited. To kick off Deduction December, I'm going to be giving you a list of 10 recommended games for you to play this Deduction December. I will also be posting several of these in a playthroughs over the next few weeks as we go through December. So if you have any that you have any games that you see on this list that you specifically would like to see a playthrough, please let me know down in the comments below, and I would be happy to oblige. So let's go ahead and begin with the first on our list. First up is one of my new favorite games to play solo, deduction. It just tickles the logic and deduction in my head, and I love it so much. I have played now 11 times for today, 7 in the last couple weeks, and it is, I'll figure it out. Turing Machine. This game, oh, I love it so much. So easy to set up. But then gives you that perfect, it's just very analytical. So if you don't like to do logic and deduction, you're probably not going to like it, but I find it very rewarding. And I actually don't see that I would ever need to necessarily play it multiplayer. I think it plays perfectly solo. So that is where I think is going to live in my space. Plus Wyatt does not particularly, he looked at it and he was like, that's a you game. I'm like, it is, and I love it. So highly recommend Turing Machine. And spoiler alert, there will also be playthroughs of this one on the channel. I actually recorded it earlier today. So I played 4 times, one of which my mic went out, so you will see 3. Next up, we have The Search for Planet X. I also, spoiler alert, played this just this morning, and it will also have a playthrough on the channel. You already have a playthrough on the channel, you say. I do, but now I have the expert mode. So I love this game oh so much. I played it 4 times just today. The app is so good. I have yet to beat him, her, whatever, the bot. I have yet to beat them on the expert mode, but I beat them on the base game, just not the expert mode. So, but I love it, and I love to play it solo. It plays well multiplayer as well, and I still enjoy that. And in fact, if I keep not beating the bot on expert, there might be eventually that I just decide that the expert mode is for playing against Wyatt. But I'm like not willing to go there yet. I'm like, I've got to be doing something wrong. But highly recommend Search Planet X. Into Dovetail, which I wish I knew a endangered species that had a dovetail, but that was the best segue I got, is The Search for Lost Species. So I love The Search for Planet X oh so much, and so I could not help myself and not get The Search for Lost Species. I have not yet played it, but this is one that I do plan on doing a playthrough on the channel for you all. But let me know down below still if that's one that you are interested in seeing. I watched the Dice Towers review the other day, and they said they thought this one was the better game, but then they liked the theme of this one, so I'm very interested to try it out. And Tom kind of had the sentiment of, if you like this one, then you'll like this one. So therefore, I'm very hopeful that I'm gonna love it just like I love the other one. So third on the list, The Search for Lost Species. We have The Initiative. Code breaking, but simple. This is more ward missions, kind of moving around. There is a campaign at the beginning. However, I am at the point where I'm in the bonus missions in the back. So I have, I believe, 16 missions left. So I have word missions, and then number missions, and then random missions. So I only have 16 of those left. So if you guys would like a playthrough of that, there will be slight spoilers, but it would just be one of those bonus scenarios. I won't spoil anything from the campaign itself. But The Initiative is another game. I actually played through it 2-player with Wyatt through the whole campaign, and then I've just been picking it up solo to play the bonus scenarios. But highly recommend if you like little logic deduction puzzles, or specifically if you like Wheel of Fortune. This is what once I see the codes, reminds me of Wheel of Fortune when you're going to solve the riddles. meets an exit game kind of thing when you're going and using more like code breaking involved in it. But really like the game. The initiative has lots of replayability. We have Awkward Guess. I already have playthroughs on the channel of this one, and I've talked about it a lot on the channel, so I won't belabor it, but deduction, figure out who killed Mr. Walton and why. Perfect to play solo or with others. Keeping on that train of thought, whether you can play it either solo or with multiple players, next up we have Chronicles of Crime. So I pulled out 2400, but you could play Noir, regular Chronicles of Crime, the Redwood, any of the Millennial series. Any of them would be fine. I think they play just as good solo as they do multiplayer. I do find that I kind of like to play it at 2. I think that's kind of the sweet spot for it, but I have no problem playing it by myself. So I highly recommend, and it scratches that deduction itch a little. It's not as much Turing machine. It's not going to kill your brain quite so much. So if you like deduction, kind of solving more of a mystery, I would recommend this for you. Okay, and the last on our list that kind of falls into that, you should play it multiplayer or solo, both works. This one actually has different modes you can play, and you can actually play it cooperative even if you want to play it at 2. But I have played a lot of the cases as solo play. So if you want to see a case of this, so this is from the expansion pack, Smoke and Mirrors. I've already played through the whole base game. But if you wanted to see a case, just let me know down below. I'm happy to do so. And by doing it on solo, you kind of just go through and you ask the questions, and then you flip to the page in the book, read the response, and kind of decide whether the person is lying to you and whether you want to press it. You just use, instead of having a person that's the chisel, you effectively just use the book to answer the questions. But I really enjoy it because I still just enjoy the like story that goes along with it. And they also have in the little campaign book, there's like a website that'll go and like read the synopsis to you. And I always like that, just to kind of like really ingrain you in the lore of it, the little bit of lore it has before you start. So, Detective, City of Angels, this is the expansion, Smoke and Mirrors, and then also Bullets Over Hollywood. I have that one as well. So yeah, highly recommend. Okay, now we have entered into the vein of you're going to need to have others to play with you. So this first game is Crypted. I love this game. We have actually like taught it to a couple of other couple board game friends or that are like non-gamers that have played board games with us, and they also really like it. And they've actually, it's kind of interesting. They've actually like beat Wyatt and I even when they're new. So I always think that's a good thing whenever you don't have a game, and it's not just that like I end up always winning because of I'm used to playing the games and whatnot. So anyone can win in this, but you try to find where the cryptid is, and then you each have your own couple like logic and deduction rules. So you really just know that like, here's all the logic and deduction rules that could exist. And then based on how people are putting out their little clue tokens and answer tokens, then you try to figure out what is their possible logic rule to figure out. Once you know all the logic rules, then you can locate where the cryptid is. So it's kind of like the reverse of the Search for Planet X in a way, in that roundabout way. But I highly, highly recommend it, Cryptid. But you will have to have more than just one. If this thing could play solo, it would probably be on my top 10. Yes, Cryptid. We have Paint the Roses. This one we already do have on the channel. However, if you wanted like some more footage or maybe like a different expansion, we played with the one with the queen where she has to like eat me, drink me. But this one and we have the deluxe edition, of course, that has the nice acrylic tiles. Wyatt, unfortunately, does not love this game as much as I do. Maybe I need to get some of my friends to come play with me instead, and maybe they could join in on a on a thing. But for December, I don't know if that'll happen. But Paint the Roses, I really, really like it. So if you like logic deduction, try to figure out, again, what your clue card is based on what you're laying out. It can be, I wouldn't say it's like that brain burny, but a little bit. I think because the queen gets very fast, at least in the one where on all of them she does, but especially when you start playing the expansions, it definitely like rackets up the difficulty level. And so on some of them, you do have to be smart and like think about how you're laying out your clues and stuff like that. And really kind of like read the board and make sure you picked up on everything that the person was trying to get you to pick up on, in order to stay in front of the queen so she doesn't off with your head. So highly recommend Paint the Roses. And the 10th and final game on our Deduction December recommendation list is Decorum, a game of passive-aggressive cohabitation. I also just love, like, as soon as you see the box cover and read that, I'm like, oh, I love that so much. Because, yes, you can't, like, openly say, like, I want the wall blue. So then you have to go and you have a set of rules that how you would like your house to look, and as does your partner, and you're all trying to live in the same house. So then it's like, I cannot have the kitchen be yellow. It must be blue, but you can't like exactly say that. So then you just have to kind of be passive aggressive, which is, you know, kind of comical. But so yes, if you would like a scenario, again, this would have a spoiler. So if you wanted to see one, just know that there is going to be a spoiler for it. But we are happy to do a playthrough if you'd like to see it. Wyatt and I have really, really enjoyed it. I think we are maybe on like scenario 12 or so currently. So very good game. Highly recommend. And there we have it, the 10 games that I recommend for this Deduction December. Again, please let me know down below if you would like a playthrough of any of these wonderful games. I love and highly recommend all of them. I mean, with the asterisk, I have not played this one just yet, but I assume since with how much I love this one, which is also on my top 30 games of all time and my most played solo games of all time list, I'm pretty sure I'm willing to say that I'm going to love this one too. So with that, thank you guys oh so much for hanging out, and I'll see you next time.